Happy Sunday night. Appreciate everyone that's going to be hopping on here. Appreciate everyone in the comments and running in the chat, and appreciate Steve Stutzman joining us every Sunday night to talk OU football. I see this first comment, so I just got to address it. John, I'm just going to let you know there will be yelling. I don't ever talk like a normal person. You can ask my wife and kids, but you're welcome to stay on and hear it. Love to have you. If it's not your cup of tea, then sorry. What's up,
Uh,
guys?
Hey, what's going on, gentlemen?
You know,
Another week behind us, another one ahead of us.
that's right. And the one ahead of us is a afternoon game, which is going to be different. But you know what? They're 2-0. It was not pretty. I mean, we can get into it, Steve. I said the defense is going to win them some games this year. I did not expect it to be Houston as one of the games that they put on their back and won the game, but that's kind of what happened last night. Wouldn't you think?
Oh, no doubt. You got to do what you got to do to win. Winning's not easy, and I think we're seeing the defense has kind of got their stuff together, and they're going to keep us in probably every single game that we play. I just don't. I just don't think we have an identity to the offense yet. I mean, we can all go up and down to each individual player and talk about the offensive. I think isn't there a co-offensive coordinator? I keep hearing one, said, but
Joe
when I
John
always thought
Finley.
I thought I never hear his name, man. He's got to have his hand in some of this. I thought,
Yeah,
uh,
You,
but
yeah.
it just doesn't seem like I just don't see. And I don't know, man. These guys get paid a lot of money, man, and to think that they're not preparing for games and not trying to do the best. But yeah, as fans, we all just kind of sit back and analyze and digest and kind of wonder what's going on a lot of times. But yeah, I mean, we got too much talent to be in games like this for sure. And hey, it's either gonna get better or it's not. I mean, that what else do you have to do? I mean, I know the guys in the locker room aren't going to quit. Uh, the coaches aren't going to stop coaching. So something's going to have to give, and they're going to have to dig deep and find find a identity to what's going. Where the offensive direction is. Whether you pound the run and then play off play action or you mix it up. Or it's just tough right now. So.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it
to
is.
me, to me, it doesn't seem like some of the zone read stuffs. Yeah, I agree. They're gonna have to. The question here from the bomb is it a little? It's a little late to try and find our identity. Actually, it's never too late. You got to find it. With the schedule, what it looks like, guys, they've got to find their identity with who's on the schedule. You got the 2:30 kick against Tulane. Tulane gave K-State a game last week, and then Tennessee's gonna come trotting into Norman, and the identity needs to be found. And I don't know what it's gonna be, guys. I do like more play action. I don't know if they're going to try to roll Arnold out more. I don't know what it's going to be. I do think getting a couple receivers back could help, but you're right. Hey, Danny opened up the first drive with 6 tackles, I think was the number, right? Hey, he came out just.
He
I
had a
heard
great.
Zach Alley's interview, Steve. I heard Zach Alley's interview, and he said Danny came to the sideline and said, "I'm on fire, coach." Right after the first drive.
No, you know what? People don't know, but he plays both positions. He plays the wheel and the middle, and he just doesn't do it just in case. When they roll in different guys, he goes one or the other, and so with that comes a whole different set of responsibilities. It's not like you can plug and play these positions. So yeah, he's. I was talking to him this week, man. He's got he only has a couple of classes, man. He's like, man, he is in the film room. I'd probably say at least 4, 5, 6 hours a day, reviewing film and looking and going over everything. So it's not because he's not prepared. I can tell you that. But I will say this: he said, man, they did not run anything that they showed against week one.
Oh
That
wow.
that team totally did a 180, and and that's what you have to do, right? I mean, they lost, and they needed to come out and do something, and they did.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think offensively that I think a lot of Sooner fans thought they would see maybe in game 2 was because the second half of game 1 wasn't very good. You thought, okay, they're going to make some changes. But you know what? Offensively, they're killing themselves going first down is killing them. They are in 2nd and 9 or 10 every drive. And it seems like if you go look at their third downs, it's 3rd and 9 or 3rd and 8 or 3rd and 11 all the time. You cannot effectively run offense that way. And I think they got to figure that out. If it is, but when I think they ran the ball, I want to say, I can't remember how many possessions they had. Hunter might know, but almost like 95% the first down was a run, and they're not running the ball well. So you're in 2nd and 9. And that's just hard to do, hard to recover from that.
Well, I thought the first 4 offensive plays were like the same first 4 offensive plays as what they ran in Temple. We started off with a reverse and had a couple, nothing special. And that's, I don't know, man. It's, I saw a comment, well, we need that. We should already have our identity, but that's not, it's easy to say, but you gotta, with different personnel and different personnel packages, there's plays that work and plays that you're designed. And remember, it's a chess match. So we're thinking we're going to take these group of guys and how are we going to, be successful? What's going to be successful against this front and with our guys? So, until, I think I listened to you guys did a little podcast live earlier, right? You guys were talking
We did
about
a video earlier. Yeah.
yeah,
Video
did a
on the
video
offense.
earlier, and I like what you're talking about. I mean, you still got guys up and down the line that are getting moved around, and things are happening. So still a lot of stuff, going on, and there's injuries, and we don't get that. But I don't think anybody's saying there's any excuses. Just got to find out what works and just really dial into that. Obviously, man, I'm telling you, man, we're missing Farouk, missing Gibson. Missing Anderson. Oh
Yeah,
my God.
size.
Jeez.
And hey, and on that note, the deep ball, someone said Burks needs to go downfield more. He did go on the one deep ball. It was a bad throw, intercepted, and it was a weird play. It's like he wasn't moving to the middle of the field. It was just a weird play. The other deep balls, you got Zion Reagans, who's like a 5'8", more of a kind of slot guy going down the sideline. Both those balls were end up thrown out of bounds. Even if you give a jump ball there, I don't think Reagans is going to come down with it against the secondary guy that they had. But someone asked about the speed option. OU ran it 3 times the first week and got really good yards. One was a Tatum touchdown. Arnold pitched it to, I think it was Barnes. Didn't see that one yesterday. Maybe that's something they can do. I will say the tight ends have been a bright spot on the offense. The zone read hitting the tight end in the middle is about the only thing that has a guy running open in it.
No, I agree. I mean, it is good to get those pieces in. So we just got to we just got to get the slots, the outside. What a big advantage we had when we had 2 6'4", 6'5" outside guys. Like you said, you're able to throw a jump ball. How many times we see that last year, a 50-50 jump ball for 30, 40 yards down the field, even if it was a little underthrown. So, yeah, it's kind of, we can sit and talk about it like, I mean, I've been on Twitter because I've been traveling. I traveled today. So I was sitting in the airport. I'm looking at, the feeds and looking at all the podcasts. And yeah, it's going to be, like I said, man, we're either going to get better or we're going to get beat. And I know it's not going to be because of the defense, and the offense is going to have to find a way. I mean, look, we held them to what, 12 points?
Yeah.
We won the game. It's like I said, hey, we weren't Notre Dame. They didn't get out of there with that one.
Yeah. Here's a question from Dalpost. I think I already know the answer, but Steve, do you think it frustrates Danny or some of the other guys who came back to see the offense playing this way? I know you're going to have the answer for this, but these guys came back and they are balling out on defense, and that's what they came to do. There's nobody pointing any fingers, I don't think, at all.
No, man, I'll be honest. I know when I played, we were more divided. Like, it was always offense and defense, and you hung out with the offense when I was in defense, and then we come together in the middle for scrimmages, and it didn't feel like a complete unified team. But I can tell you, this team isn't like that. I mean, these guys they just don't hang out offense and defense. They interact. They care about one another, and I think you've always said complementary football, right?
Yeah.
How many times last year, the offense needed to come up with some big plays to kind of help the defense when the defense was struggling. So right now we're leaning really hard on the defense. Uh, there's no animosity. They absolutely want them to play better, but they're not going out there and just saying, "Oh my gosh, here we go again." They're going out there to say, "You know what? We got to get these guys the ball back. We got to do something. We got to step it up." And they're still. It's a united. Those guys are in that locker room are tight. They're united, and I can tell you they want to win. They want to win. So it's all got to come together. We just got to get it. Like you said, man, we got to get it now. And I mean, there's nothing really more to say about it. It's gotta happen this week
Yeah.
because if you looked at the new AP, my goodness, what
Yeah.
2, 5, 6, 7, 10, and then we got we're 15, 16 behind us. We play every one of them.
Yeah.
So it's going to be, and the ones that aren't ranked aren't going to be anything that's to be a given. So it's going to be a hard fought battle this season. And man, did we not expect it any other way? I know, week 2 we didn't. You're like, even I'm like, man, we rushed for 200 something yards against Temple. I thought we'd pound the ball more a little bit. I don't think we ended up with like 75 yards. I didn't see the rotation. Tatum got a carry. Not really my place to really just, I don't ever guess what the coaches are doing. I just kind of as a fan kind of see it a little bit like you do. While I'm up in the stands, we're just kind of sitting there going, what's going on, what's happening behind the scenes. So we'll see what happens, man. That's all they got a week. They got this week. They were back in the lab today, so they're gonna have to figure it out.
Yeah. Hey, Daniel, appreciate your super. Says it may be as bad as his 2014 season at OU. And I was thinking, guys, 2016 was a rough start offensively. That was the Rattler game. I think they won 16-13 against West Virginia. And then they made a QB change. But we're talking about, someone said Danny was asked that same question that was asked that you just showed by Dalpo Jay, and his answer in there was, no, we're just living it up playing ball. And Zach Alley talked about that. He said the defense has been on the sideline saying, sweet, we get to go back out there and try to get another turnover and try to do this. So there is that complimentary trying to get the job done. I think they're embracing it. And listen, Sooner fans haven't OU fans aren't accustomed to an abysmal offense that has been seen like this. And I will say this. I still believe in Jackson Arnold. You may rip me all you want on here tonight, and I'll welcome it. I think he still has the tools necessary. I think he can still get the job done. He did not play well last night. He would say he didn't play well. He missed guys, but I'm not jumping ship yet on Jackson Arnold. I see comments. I'm just not yet. I still think they can turn it around.
Yeah, there's no reason. There's no reason to jump ship with. I mean, come on. This guy has all the talent in the world. What's his third start? Come on,
Yeah.
man. I mean, he's faced his third start. You got new coordinator. You got everything's new. So, yeah, it's not because he doesn't have the talent. We know that. So,
Hey,
Yeah.
Jay, I got to say something else because I see the comments saying I'm Jackson Arnold's knight in shining armor. Whatever, guys. Hey, I've never been called a knight in shining armor, but I appreciate that. The comment, Jackson Arnold has a decision-making issue. I'm not going to speak for this, but we did talk about when you lose guys that are 6'2 to 6'5 on the outside, and you're dropping in the pocket and you look over there, and I'm not making an excuse on, this guy's too short to play outside, Jay. You brought this up a few weeks ago, and I kind of argued with you, and you were right, Jay. Outside, those slot guys that have moved outside, it's a little different body size, and I think he has been timid at releasing it, wondering if they're going to be able to wrestle it away from a defender, Jay. I don't know.
Well, I think, I mean, I don't know if you watched the playback or any of you guys have watched it. Yeah, I watched it on TV last night and I watched it again today. I think when he says decision-making issue, there's times where like Jackson Arnold threw it deep and he had Burks probably for a 10-yard gain. I think part of it might be Jackson Arnold thinking he has to do more than, because there's no run game at all. and maybe he's thinking I got to do more. He does not look comfortable. I would say. I think as far as prepared, whatever the word is, he didn't look very comfortable. I don't know if that's a set the trail, if that's a learning the scheme, whatever it is. I agree with both of y'all as far as talent level. He's got it all. He's got the talent to throw balls. That did not look like him last night throwing those balls out of bounds. So I don't know. They got to get it cleaned up. I saw Chiefs comment about this. No person that is clear in the mind takes the OC job at Oklahoma without being confident that they can succeed. So Seth Luttrell he's from Oklahoma. He knows the pressure for an OC. It's one of the highest pressured coaching coordinators in the country, OC at Oklahoma. You've already seen it 2 games in, people say firing. They were fired Levy last year. It's a position that is very hard to live up to. So he knew that going in. So, and Chief's right. He knows it. He's got to get it figured out. Like Steve said, they got to figure it out now. Whatever it takes, whatever it is, they're going to be back in the lab working. They got it figured out. They got to get it figured out. But I want to say something about the defense, though, because the defense, you talk about the offense playing all these receivers, a different O-line, and they haven't got it together. I think that's what I love about the defense is there was guys going out of the game yesterday, injured, banged up. You know, Dolby went out some. Omashigo comes in and plays really well. Kip Lewis went out. Kanik was in there some. They seem to play a lot of guys, even at defensive back, but you don't see them missing a big beat or dropping off that much, which I think that is telling that this defense, I think, is a really, really elite defense.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's fun to watch those guys on that side of the ball, and I'm wondering how many people in the chat, man, can remember back, when those great defenses, back when Lehman and those guys and Rocky and those defenses back in the 2000s, or even whether 2001, 2002, 2000. Those are that's a ways back, man. That's 24 years ago.
Yeah, and you look at this last time OU won a national championship is 24 years ago, and the defense they went to College Station. Torrance Marshall gets the interception. Some Sooner magic. Derek Straight J against OSU. If you guys remember that tip ball, knocks it out of the end zone. I mean, the defense, the offense, guys, people are forgetting the offense against OSU before they went to the national championship game. I think they scored 15 points, 16. In the national championship game, they scored 13.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Bobby, you're right about this comment. You can have an elite defense, but you saw it against Houston. If the offense doesn't help at all, you're going to have tough times winning the games in the SEC. You got to have a little bit of the offense. I mean, you can play your butt off for 4 quarters on defense, but if you're basically giving them points offensively, you're not moving the ball at all, it's going to be tough to hold up. So I would agree with that, Bobby. I think 6 wins with the defense alone would be great because, but you got to have some help from the offense. Complementary football, Steve, you said earlier, you got to help all 3 phases. I mean, Elzinga last night played great, and that punt he had near the end for the safety, without that punt, who knows? I didn't think they were going to move the ball down there to the field goal anyway, but it still was great to have the punt and pin him back. I thought he played good.
Were y'all shocked they didn't overturn that safety?
No, he was in the ball was the whole
ball was in his right hand.
The one that I was surprised about, or I wasn't surprised, I don't know if that guy touched that first punt, but the call on the field was he touched it. You couldn't overturn it.
Yeah, I couldn't tell. I couldn't tell after watching if he he initially touched it, but his hand kind of looks like it just waved through it, and but there wasn't even enough. I couldn't even tell. I mean, it just it is. But you're right, man. Hey, look, defense is not gonna win these games. What I say, my opening statement was, the defense is gonna keep you in every game, right?
Yeah.
And it's going to be up to the offense to make sure we outscore the defense. I mean, the opponent. That's it. I mean, whether we hold them to 10 or 21, 20, 21, we got to score more. We got to find ways to get in the end zone, man. And then obviously you can't be missing field goals. I mean, he had a great week last week, and then come back and miss one is tough, but it's going to happen.
It was a weird night, guys. I mean, even, we went to the game. My middle son's birthday. I was like, if OU loses this game, man, it's going to be a birthday remember, son. But the punts falling down, Bowman was kind of not like himself on catching punts. Bowen only played 14 plays on defense, I think. He was hurt, and I don't even know if he played.
He got banged up.
And Kip Lewis, look, I thought Canick, one really, I think, bright spot, Canick did come in and played. I think he played 4 or 5 straight plays and was in the right spot. I thought that was good to see for me. I like seeing that.
Hey, I'll be honest, guys. I never for once when they had the ball felt like they were going to put together a drive, a sustaining drive that was ever going to beat us. I just, how you get those feels. You can feel how the game's going, and I never, even when they, even when we messed up the victory formation play. I mean, I never felt that they were going to be able to sustain a drive to go down there and get a touchdown. I just didn't feel that way. I mean, it just, no matter what the optics were.
Yeah, Hunter, I don't know if you can look up how many 3-and-outs they had. This is something I touched about on the phone earlier, Jerm, about time and possession, though. That one point before OU got that long drive in the fourth, I think with 8 minutes left, it was like 35 minutes to 17 or 18 that they were down as far as time and possession. Defense played a lot of ball. You can't have that. I mean, we're so used to OU fans. It's defense on the field so much because OU is scoring a lot quickly. And this was the other way, where they're on the field because 3-and-outs. You can't have it. It's got to be better for sure going forward.
Well, you know what, Jay, you touched on it, man. So, I see some comments. Well, how long is it going to take before the defense runs out of gas? Well, if you look, it's what you said. The guys that are rotating in are not dropping off as the number ones. You probably got, instead of 11, you probably got 16 guys that could be starting on that defense.
Mm-hmm.
So the drop off isn't as dramatic as it, look at last year or even the year before, where you had, if you lost one of the 11, you're cooked. So the depth is there. The defense is going to hold up. We just got to get things figured out.
What do you think?
What's that?
What'd you think of the uniforms? Do you like them?
I like them for a one-off. I mean, those are cool for a one-off. I like them better than the unities. I mean, at least you can tell who the heck's running doing, especially at night. And that's another thing, for Bowen and Bauman, man. They, catching punts in the lights, man, is tough too. And that ball was spinning funky. I ain't gonna make excuses.
He knuckleballed a couple of them.
He did a good job, man. That ball was doing some funky stuff up in the air, man.
It is encouraging seeing the gang tackling. And look, they missed some tackles last night, more so than the first week. But they had guys who were following up, so they never got really a lot of large gains. I mean, maybe they got an extra yard or two out of them, but doing a great job really gang tackling, which is great to see. And then, Jay, I'm really – look, at the secondary, someone earlier said the secondary is very suspect. Look, they had the busted play where I think BB said they were supposed to be in halves zone. The field is in halves. They played it in quarters, and that's what happened on that bust. But and that was right at the beginning of the second half.
Well,
outside of that, the secondary was – I mean, the coverage is pretty good.
Well, if you remember, Jeremy, that bust happened right after that. They took away that pick from Woody.
That is correct.
Which was bull, man. He was fighting for the ball just like the receiver was. So, we have another. You take that one away, we still had another pick, right? I mean, that guy. We jumped that route.
Yeah, RSJ.
RSJ. He jumped the route. I mean, he's there. So you take away that one bust. I mean, they were kind of taking what the defense was giving them, but we kept everything in front. There was no big chunk plays other than that one.
Yeah. Hey, let me get to Chief real quick.
Go ahead, Jay, and then I'm going to get to the Woody Washington.
I was going to say, Chief, thanks for the super. He's talking about everything fixable. Most importantly, the trumpet is 2-0. Jeremy, you got to bring it back this week. Hey, before you get to Grey God, I got a question for Steve, and love to hear your thought on this. Yeah, on the game last night. I mean, this is a home game for Oklahoma. Jackson Arnold, most of the game, is doing this in his helmet trying to hear the play call. At a home game with the offense, shouldn't be that loud. If they're having issues, and I'd love to hear your thoughts with Danny, too, on that helmet. I know they said on the broadcast that he put new 2 speakers in there for his or something, but it
Yeah.
seems like it's an
Yep.
issue at home. I'm worried about the road. Do they just need to go to signals again? I mean,
No, Danny, they did upgrade Danny's helmet. He said it wasn't an issue. So it sounds like that's what they need to do to Jackson's. It's just upgrade his
Yeah.
or whatever he's listening to in his ear. So
okay.
I think that can be fixed. Yeah, because no, it's loud, but yeah, when you're away, it's gonna be a little louder than that.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these venues for sure.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks. I don't know how to pronounce Scott. I'll just say Scott. How long does Seth get? Seth gets at least a year or two.
Hey, this is
but
not,
I got to go to the Woody Washington stuff.
Okay, real quick.
Yes.
This is not a Lincoln Riley when he fired Mike Stoops in the middle of the year. First off, they don't have anybody on that staff that's called plays before. If you got rid of Seth, who's going to call the plays? I mean,
yeah, that's a little brash to say that they're looking to do that. But hey, another brash thing, Jay, or something that I think just kind of impulse the Woody Washington saying he's unplayable. And I know there's not just one. There's a lot of people who think that, Jay. I think Woody Washington last year, you didn't see much from Woody because they weren't throwing his way as much. Late in the year, Arizona specifically, he got beat a few times. Last night, the first drive, they picked on him a little. But I think Woody Washington is a great cover guy. Man-wise, he did move to the slot. If you notice later in the game, though, guys, he moved to the slot guy. He was guarding the slot receiver, not the outside. But that play, both guys had 2 hands. If it was advantage one guy, then I could see calling the interference. When they're both locked in with 2 hands, to me, that's a bad call. I thought that was a heck of a play there. I don't think he's unplayable, guys.
Yeah, he's definitely that's not. Yeah, I don't even when I see comments that are like that, I just call it duck feathers, man. It just rolls off. It just rolls off and go the next thing.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that came back too. That with Bowman and Stutzman, kind of with this defense spearheading.
Well, the shame thing about it is probably that call. They were both fighting. If that's an SEC game, it's probably not called. It's called because Big 12 they don't let you play. But the bad thing about it is, I think the complaint about Woody Washington from a lot of fans is he's in position, he never makes the play. And that time he made a great one-handed play, but then you get the pass interference. I think that's probably where people say that. Whereas, last year Gentry had, I don't know how many interceptions or whatever. But
I thought that was the interference that should have been called. Offensive, that it looked like he extended on Gentry and shoved Gentry to the ground. Fortunately, the ball was overthrown. That was a tutty, guys. That was a tutty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I agree with this, Jackson. I don't think it can be fixed like Avenger snap your finger. But you got to see some improvement. That's the thing. From week to week, you got to improve on something. I mean, you can't go backwards. I looked at the stats today from overall offense. They're like 130th and third down out of like 100. I mean, they are dead last in a few categories. It's just not good. So they got to fix it. You got to figure it out. I don't know what. If you watch Brent Venables tonight on the coach's playback with Dean Blevins, you could tell Brent Venables is absolutely pissed at Josh Bates from that helmet thing. I mean, I can't remember the words he used, but I was like, wow, he did. I mean, I think he said on the postgame he lost his mind, and then a tough boy taking your helmet off. He was not happy with it. And that almost, I mean, it did haunt him because of the defense, but they were going to punt that ball away and there was going to be like 7 seconds left in the game. You just can't do it. Can't do it.
Hey,
No doubt.
did Danny pick this number 28? Was it randomly assigned?
No, that was randomly assigned. Actually, his number in high school was 11. And he wanted it, and it was who was that? Was that Benito's number?
Yeah.
Nick?
Yeah.
And they had promised it to Kobe McKenzie when he came, to get him to come when he was being recruited. So, but it's fine. Yeah, so Danny got. He just didn't want a 50s. He doesn't he didn't want a 50s number.
28 looks great on Danny. I love 28.
And Danny Okoye had the neck brace last night. I thought that was old school.
Nice. No,
Hey,
he did. I did see that.
Grey
Hey.
God says Nico's licking his lips at Woody. Here's what I'm gonna say. Hey, Nico, Tennessee guys.
You know what? Danny's licking his lips, man. So
They,
anytime he steps on a field, so
Hey,
yeah, I guess
Great
so.
God. Great God.
Nico
Also,
threw two picks and only threw for 200 yards. Where people need to watch, people's talking about Nico. Guys, they ran for 250 yards. You've got to stop the run first. That's what BV's MO. That's really any
Yep.
coordinator, but BV's always about stop the run. Because Tennessee, everyone wants to talk about Nico. He's the prolific guy. He's going to be the Heisman hopeful that everyone's talking about. They ran for 250 yards yesterday on the road. You got to stop the run and then worry about Nico.
Yeah.
well, that's the thing with those offenses, Leach offenses like Heupel and even Levy, and that's why I think people thought with this Seth Luttrell being from the Leach tree, you'd have a run, maybe more run than pass, and they just haven't established it, and that's what to me is what's hurting them the most offensively. They have no running game at all. I think you got to somehow figure that out. I don't know how you do it, but man, Danny, he came flying through there on a couple massive hits. That one just stood that running back up right in the hole and just drilled him. Man, he had some textbook hits. Like if you were showing your players this is how you hit and you don't get targeting, he had like two of them last night that was just dead on.
Yeah, no, he had a good game. He'd tell you he wasn't happy. We were with him after the game. He wasn't happy with his performance. Obviously sloppy the whole game, but he's just hard on himself. You know, he had 15. He said it should have been 25.
Is he a perfectionist?
So
Is he a
he
perfectionist?
is. That's why he's playing football because he doesn't have the mentality for baseball.
Does he get that from you?
Uh, he kind of me and my wife. I get probably more of my wife. She was more of a perfectionist when she was playing. But yeah, I remember I had to make him. I was coaching him in baseball, and if he didn't go 4 for 4, 4 home runs, he's just a mess, man. I'm like, so after his age 12, I got, dude, you're done, man. It's basketball, football, because you don't have time to sulk. You know, those sports are constantly going. So. I'm glad we found him with something that fit.
Yeah. Hey, Jay, I got to answer Selene's question. She asked about what is a tutty? Touchdown, Selene. I'm abbreviating touchdown. It's kind of another word for touchdown. I got to define it for you there since you asked that. Seth running offense like Leach or Levy's. I don't know how to answer that question. I honestly don't know how to answer it.
I think
until I see more of it.
In the Arizona game last year, I think he was running Levy's.
Correct.
I don't know what I've seen this year to say it's Levy's.
Doesn't look like Leach.
It doesn't look like Levy though, but it doesn't really look like Leach either. I don't know. We'll see as the season moves on. Tulane looked good yesterday against K-State. They played pretty well. I think it'll be a good test for Oklahoma.
Yeah, I watched that. We were at the tailgate early, and I was watching obviously the Texas game, Michigan, and I had my eyes on. Was watching the Tulane. Kansas State had to come back late to win that game. They're going to be solid. I mean, that's the Fritz left them in good position, and it's going to be a good test. I mean, there's no doubt about it. So.
Hey, maybe before we get you off here, we answer Crystal's question here. Stutz, did you make any money betting this weekend? If you pick against what I picked, you're going to be a millionaire. That's what you need to do. Whatever I say, go the opposite.
You're the Lee Corso of this, Jay. You are.
Yeah. Do you have a good weekend, Stutz, on that?
Yeah. So I do not. If everybody knows, I do not wager on Oklahoma games. That's first and foremost. But I did. Let's see who I won on the boys big tonight. Saw that. College, who did I have in college? I'm trying to think. I didn't bet. You know what? Because when I'm in Oklahoma, I can't bet because Oklahoma doesn't allow. And they track your phone, so they know I'm not in Florida, so I can't bet. So I didn't really get the betting thing too much. More NFL this week.
Hey, Steve, I appreciate yesterday the tailgate. I got to meet Boganowski's dad. That was cool, and his family. That was awesome. Thoughts now, 2:30 kick. The weather looks like 96 degrees is what they're saying this Saturday in Norman. It's going to be hot. Conditioning's probably going to be, we're going to see who's conditioned for sure. I think this week. So hopefully the time of possession isn't as bad as what it was last week. But some final thoughts here with you before we let you go on this upcoming game.
Hey, I'll answer Gary real quick. We had some swab. We had some sliders, and we had the ham slider. I don't know if did you get any of that, Germ?
I did get the sliders. The lady who had made them was over there talking about. Someone asked her, what she made, and she was describing it. So
yeah, Miss Debbie, she does. They do a great job. Hey, I'm looking forward to a 2:30 kick. It's look, those guys that are down in New Orleans, they know what humidity and heat is. So I don't think everybody being in shape is going to be an issue. I just hope we get to the fact, man. Hey, keep it simple, right? What's wrong with getting 4 yards on every play? Last time I checked, 3 of those get you a first down every time.
Yeah, I would agree. Right. Maybe they need to simplify it offensively until.
I can remember when I was playing and we were going through a little identity crisis, and we just went to some they used to say, "Oh, we're doing KISS, keep it simple, stupid," and that's what we did. And
I like it.
Our goal was 4 yards. How do we get 4 yards? Whether it's a 5 yard out, or a toss, or whatever we dialed up, man. But hey, sometimes that's what it takes, and build off of that.
I like that. Keep it simple, stupid. I've heard that a time or two.
I should use that with you, Jeremy.
Yeah, you should. Steve, we want to respect your time again. We thank you. I know it's an hour ahead of us, so it's almost 10:37 there.
11:07.
Sorry, 11:07. I don't do math either, but thanks for joining us tonight, Steve. We really appreciate you, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, you got Steve. It, boys. I appreciate it, gentlemen, and Boomer.
That's right.
Boomer. Yep. Thanks, Steve, for joining us. Really some good. I don't think anyone is going to sugarcoat it. First off, I saw someone in the comments say another show was saying that it's just going to be fixed magically next week. No, it's not going to be fixed magically. Not going to be fixed magically. There's going to have to be some changes.
Yeah, and real quick, I want to address something. That's the first time. Yeah, I appreciate it, Steve, so much for being on, taking that time. I know he travels all weekend, gets back Sunday late, and then joins us. It's really appreciative, Steve, for doing that. This is the first comment I've seen tonight that has the word vanilla in it. I told people yesterday I would lose my mind if I saw it yesterday on the post-game live. Let me say this. On the vanilla comments from the first game, the people that said that keep saying vanilla or whatever, and then 5 minutes later, the same people are saying, well, they don't have any chemistry with the wide receivers. Well, then that's the one reason why you cannot be vanilla, because you got to figure things out. I get, when I see that comment, it bothers me. They're not being vanilla. They're not very good right now offensively.
Okay, Jay, okay. And with that, I got to get to John Hover here. Thanks for joining us despite the yelling. Thanks for being here. Look, I promise you, Jay and I will not ever just say everything's okay in Norman, Oklahoma. Even when they win, we're pretty critical of things. But I want to say this. Do we believe this is Seth's entire offense? This is my problem.
How could it be?
No, but this is my problem. If it's not, because obviously people say it's not, you're in a one-score game, and you're not like what are they waiting on? I'm going to give my evaluation of Jackson Arnold, because I didn't get to be on the live last night, Jay. I was stuck with all the other people that were in Norman. They're on Highway 9, kept going in and out of service. Jackson Arnold didn't play well last night. Fact. He would say he didn't play well. There's many reasons why, I think. And the more I think about it, Jay, I think he's pressing too much. I think he's not. I don't think he's slinging it around the yard. For one, I don't know who he's going to sling it to. Outside the tight ends or the running back Flair or Deion Burks, who you going to sling it to, because they're not running wide open. I honestly think the deep balls to Zion Reagans, now the ones to Thompson, horrible throws. One was underthrown, one was 10 yards offline. But the one to Zion Reagans, I promise if you put a true serum in Jackson Arnold, he's going to say he threw it out of bounds on purpose because you got a 5'8" guy against a secondary guy who's glued to him. Like, Zion Reagans is not going to go up and get that ball. I don't know why people think that ball should have been caught or should have been thrown better. It would have been an interception, and people would have been saying, why is he throwing it?
Yeah, and Sooner Cowboys, right now, I agree with you because you could double Burks, put a guy behind him and the guy short. I don't know right now on that offensive side of the ball who's going to scare you, maybe is the word for it. But, hey, Crystal, let me say this. BV, 6-6, I would give another year. Seth Luttrell, because the defense has made great strides. Seth Luttrell, if they go 6-6 and they finish where they're ranked right now offensively, I don't think so.
If the defense,
if they don't get any better offensively all year, then to me, it's not a one-year deal. It's because you can't say they don't. Levy didn't leave and a bunch of offensive players left with him. You had one guy leave, Dylan Gabriel, offensively, right?
Yeah, the line, and Sooner Cowboy or someone talked about the line, and he doesn't want to throw interceptions. I agree. I think he's pressing a little. He's throwing it out of bounds. But listen, to say Hawk, look, maybe you're going to get your wish, Grey God. Maybe a lot of people on here are going to get their wish, and Michael Hawkins is going to come in the game. I'm just telling you right now. I have a family member who went to Purdue, is an Ohio State, just massive Ohio State fan. And my sister is an OU fan, so they watch all the OU games. He called me today and said, I don't know. I don't see any playmakers on offense. That's what the comment was. I don't see any guy who is going to do anything much when they get the ball outside of Deion Burks. Barnes had the flare screen. Couldn't make a guy miss. I mean, it's not like they have just dudes. Nick Anderson can help immensely, I think, with the size.
And you're right on this, Crystal. BB said, judge our progress on year 3. Well, here we are. And I said it before the year. I'll say it again. And if you follow this show at all, you know I've said this on many occasions. The Seth Luttrell hire, I think, may make or break Brent Venables. It's a hire that if it's not the right hire, it sets you back. And guys, here's my thing on offense, guys and gals. And Steve was saying it's got to get better. They got to figure it out. Because here's the thing. If you don't get better and you end up like this at the end of the year where you're still bad offensively, and Jackson Arnold continues to be bad offensively and not have great numbers, I mean, what quarterback's going to want to come play in that offense?
Hey, Greg, I got a question, and I seriously just want you to answer it in the chat. When you say missed several open targets, are you saying he didn't throw it to him, or are you saying he threw bad balls?
Misreads.
I know of one that you showed me with Burks, Jay, but I promise you this. Zion Reagans was never open. Brennan Thompson was a couple times, but I'm just curious. I was at the game. I could see the entire field. There are not dudes running all over the place wide open is what I'm saying. They're not, Jay.
Well,
They're not.
I think KISS is a great thing. Keep it simple, stupid. They got to figure whatever it is. And that's why I think if you go look at teams like Tennessee and Nico, Josh Heupel, his offensive mind, the way it works is very simple for a quarterback. Very simple. And that's why he has young quarterbacks that do good. Now,
I agree he's gun shy.
And he did not look very aggressive. He did leave the pocket early some. He did miss reads. He didn't have
he did leave the pocket early some, and then sometimes he had to leave the pocket. He spun around that one and had to scramble for 11 yards. I mean, to me, he doesn't trust the receivers. He doesn't trust the line, and the play calling, I think, is suspect at best.
Yeah, and I think Scott says Nico knows where to go with the ball every play.
Nico didn't have a great game yesterday, though.
But I also
why is everyone wanting to crown Nico when he threw for 200 yards and had 2 interceptions? I don't understand that.
Jeremy, don't argue that right now. Nico's playing really good.
No, stop for a second. Stop for a second. Jackson Arnold was bad, pitiful last night. If Jackson Arnold would have thrown for 210 yards and had 2 interceptions, you would have been ripping him. Fact.
I'm not going to compare quarterbacks.
No, people on here would have been ripping him for 2 picks.
Hey,
do not use inappropriate language, please. Do not use inappropriate language.
Hey, let me say this. There's a difference, though, too, because Josh Heupel played quarterback. He coaches quarterback.
There's no quarterback coach at OU. That's a problem.
I think that's also, and that's why I was bringing up, is I think they need a quarterback coach, I think.
And I admit Nico is going to be legit. I still think Arnold can be legit. So I'm just saying, if Arnold would have by the way, Arnold had 4 TDs and no interceptions the first game, and people were roasting Jackson Arnold after 2 touchdown drops. Okay? All I'm saying is Nico did not, at NC State yesterday, did not put a Heisman-like performance like some of you guys want to say. That's all I'm saying.
I'm very high on Nico. I think he's a great quarterback. I do.
I think he's got great talent, but he threw 2 picks yesterday, Jay. They ran for 250 yards. Do you know how many yards OU ran for yesterday, Jay? Do you know?
What? For OU?
I think it was 67.
OU, I think, had 78 yards rushing.
I think it was 67 or 73 or something. Hey, so let's not – Tennessee had 250 yards rushing. Let's not compare the 2 quarterbacks based on that.
Well, let's not compare the 2 quarterbacks anyway. They play in 2 weeks. You can compare them all you want after that game. Don't need to do it right now. OU's got to play Tulane before that, and they got to figure it out offensively.
It would. I think he's a stud too. I love Nico, and I love Jackson Arnold too. But Jackson Arnold didn't play well yesterday. But if he would have only if he would have had 211, what do you have? 172 passing yards.
Do you want me to tell you a fact of life? Listen up. A fact of life is this: if you play on a team that puts up points offensively, people just say you're. I mean, people, you get the benefit of the doubt as a quarterback. If you're on a team that's not playing well offensively, it's going to fall on you as a quarterback.
OU scored 51 points the first week, and he got ripped.
Because they didn't – 51 points, they weren't good offensively, Jeremy, in the first game.
I agree.
So, trivia, define vanilla. Do you want the vanilla as that goes into baking or vanilla on offense? Here's the vanilla. Vanilla is plain, very plain and simple. But here's the thing. Plain and simple can also lead to a bunch of points if you do it right. Hence, the Dallas Cowboys went to Emmitt Smith. They ran the same thing over and over all the time, and it got you plenty of points. Here's the thing. They're not executing. I don't care if you run vanilla. I don't care if you run sweep left, sweep right, counter left, counter right, throw a slant, whatever. If you're vanilla and you're good at it and you execute, it's not going to matter. Okay. They don't execute offensively. The offensive line right now, in my opinion, is still a big problem. I think I said it on a video we did earlier. They're moving so many guys around on the offensive line. Let me say this. We're going into game 3 at Oklahoma here that we're watching, and you're still hearing things about guys injured, guys not going to play. Jake Taylor played and got re-injured and didn't come back in. At some point, you got to say, you know what? These guys may not be available this year. Because if it's a nagging injury and it keeps coming up, then maybe you go with somebody that's not injured and is younger and get them ready. Because you can't just have a guy going in and banged up, moving this guy from left tackle to right tackle, this guy from guard to center. I mean, they got to figure something out, I think, because I think that's so much part of their offense. And also, if you're running a lot of RPO, that O-line needs to know they're not firing off the ball. Because are they running a run or a pass? It's a lot with the reads.
And that's my point. I see Trap House says you got to run block better, simple and plain. Look, and I know Eric said, why do you love Jackson Arnold? I love everything about Jackson Arnold. The fact that he played pitiful yesterday, which he did, I can stay and still say I like the guy. Okay, but you said respect is earned. I mean, you guys are talking about Nico as a Heisman. Nico didn't play well yesterday. What has Nico done in the grand scheme of things yet? It's going to be a battle in 2 weeks. OU's got to find a way to score 20 on Tennessee to win that game. Well, you got to score in the 20s.
I don't want to talk about Tennessee. I'm tired of hearing about Tennessee game. OU's got Tulane first, and they got to win that game first. Okay.
Hey, John, BV's phrase last week, and this is really ticking me off, guys. This BV 2 weeks ago said Anderson probably could be available, but we're not going to use him against Temple. Last week it goes to he's going to be back sooner rather than later. Guys, he's on the sideline. Looks healthy. I don't understand it. He will help. Jackson Arnold, 11 carries. How many yards did he have? 30?
Well, 11 carries, and he didn't slide. He tried to run over somebody. So, but he led the team in carry. Now, I think Javonte Barnes had 12, and then Jackson Arnold had 11. That's too many. And
I don't get why OU can't run a regular screen pass.
Personally, I would love to see Tatum get a few more carries. One carry is not enough for him, I don't think. But I'm a couch fan. I'm not a coach. I never have claimed to be a coach. I am not going to tell a coach who to play. But Sexton needs to play tackle. I'm not going to tell a coach who to play. But Sexton to me is a tackle, not a
absolutely.
Guard. That's just me. Now, I'm not Bill Beatenbow. Bill Beatenbow's coached guys for years. It's one of two things. Either, I mean, because Jacob Sexton played tackle last year when Guyton went down. So it's one of two things. Either, and I think it's this, I don't even need to say two things. I think it's one thing. They do not trust another guard in there. Or they don't trust the center because they don't want young guards, another guard right next to the center if they don't trust him. I don't know which one it is. Is it Bates? I don't know if Bates, after listening to Brent Venables, how much he's going to get on the field because Brent Venables was kicked with Josh Bates.
And I love what correction says here. I don't understand why we're running the zone stuff when you can run more counter. They've got to run more counter. It was a staple. I don't understand why it's not. And listen, I don't want this to all be Jackson Arnold because, first off, it's not an all. This Hawkins may come in and blow everyone's mind, but guess what? He likely won't with this offense unless other things are fixed. To me, there are way more issues than the quarterback. This is a big problem across the board. That's my problem is when everyone wants to say, when people want to say,
it's part of Jeremy, you come to Oklahoma as a quarterback.
I get that, Jay, but
listen, let me finish. Do you know what's going to happen if you're putting up?
I don't know why you're making this comment. That's not what I'm saying.
But if you put up 0 points in the second half at Oklahoma, a lot of that blame's going to go on the quarterback. That's just the way fans react. I'm not saying it's accurate. Okay? I'm not saying it's accurate. I'm just saying that's part of it.
I agree, but this year specifically, to me, there's way more issues. Like, I don't see tons of playmakers at receiver, Jay. I just don't. Burks is the only guy. He's the only guy.
Yeah.
Hey, Eric, it is. It's QBU, and we got no quarterback coach, and we don't know if the coordinator is it yet.
Yeah, and I just don't know. It's a young quarterback, so it's not like you have Baker Mayfield in there saying, hey, Seth, these are the plays I really like. These right here, these are I understand really well.
There's no running game. They can't even get a yard on the ground. Like, listen, 2 weeks. Have you seen one gaping hole for the running back? Yes, one time. It was a speed option pitch to Taylor Tatum. And then we ran another speed option, and we ran a pitch and got like 9 yards. There has been no holes anywhere against these two pitiful teams and defenses. How can there not be any holes?
Yeah, and I agree with this. Right now, the nastiness on the O-line is non-existent. They're not really pushing people. You're not getting it. I mean, Barnes is running in their brick wall, so Sawchuk. So I don't know the answer. Kenneth says the guard's got to stay there because he got to call the
That's a good point because I know Sexton was.
That's what I.
Last night, Sexton kept tapping. Sexton was, I think, making the calls. But listen,
that's my point, though.
You got to get Hickman back.
But that's my point. That's why I think they don't trust the center if they're paying Sexton at guard. They needed somebody there. Run game coordinator, I think it's DeMarco Murray does the running backs, but running game coordinator, I thought they have a passing game coordinator, quote, John Finley. Their best package may be 3 tight end right now, offensively.
Go 3 tight ends, go 2 backs.
I'm not telling them what to do. I'm just saying from what I've seen.
Yeah, and look, hey, guess what?
McIntyre.
They had McIntyre in there yesterday with them, Hunter. McIntyre, Roberts, and Bauer Sharp.
Ran the ball.
Bauer Sharp was bad yesterday blocking.
They ran the ball on that every time because maybe they feel like they can block it better. I don't know. Yeah, they can't push anyone. Crystal, I actually disagree. I think that was one of their better plays was the draw. But
yeah, but hey, I don't know. I just think, and I'm going to say, I think it's crazy to think that Brendan Zerberg or whatever is an answer. Zerberg.
hey,
Now, people want Hawkins. Fine, bring Hawkins in, see what he can do. Hey, Hawkins didn't just against Temple wasn't just throwing dimes everywhere.
no, listen. Hey,
So I'm just saying, I think they may go with Hawkins at some point, Jay, if Arnold doesn't play well again. But this is still Arnold's team, in my opinion.
well,
I think
the best thing that can happen, we'll see if it does. We'll see if it's even possible with what I've seen in 2 games. But you got to come out against Tulane and some type of rhythm, identity. I don't know the word for it, but you got to look different offensively. You have to. Because you're going into Tennessee after that, and it's Katie bar the door, Tennessee, or Auburn, Texas. I mean, shoot, it's not going to get any easier. So,
I do think
I don't know.
I do think Nick Anderson will help. He's not the magical answer. When have you seen Hawkins play with swagger? Are you talking about high school?
Hey,
Are you talking about high school football?
Hey, he had swagger in high school. Hey, Dalpost.
Well, I'm saying, I'm asking the person the question.
I understand this, Dalpost, but all that does to me is if Hawkins goes in there and doesn't play well, you're kind of hurting Jackson Arnold too for yanking him. I don't think it right now. I don't think right now that's the move. I think the move is to figure it out offensively wise. Seth Luttrell's got to figure something out. I don't know.
Jackson Arnold needs to be himself, period. Go back to gunslinging mentality. If you throw 4 picks, fine. Go back to slinging around. But they got to have some receivers getting separation. They don't have
John goes to Northern Illinois? Wow.
No.
Nice.
No. He's saying go to Northern Illinois. Jackson Arnold. I think Michael Hawkins could definitely run the ball and run some stuff in a package for sure. I don't know if he's the answer throwing the ball yet. I haven't seen enough of him to say it.
Crystal, I'm not saying overall it was good, but I thought the draw.
You got to count the sacks. You got to count the sacks into that.
Yeah,
though.
I thought the draw was the best looking run play that they really had last night. Personally, Vols are good. Big Orange Vols are good.
Hey, John, at least we're not putting 11 guys on circles to line them up for special teams yet. I hope it doesn't get that bad like the John Blake's year.
This is only Sunday of the week. It's hard to believe, but one thing we know, defense, yes, you can be hesitant still, fans. You can say, I don't know if they're there yet. Haven't seen it before in the past. They've done this in non-con. Let's see it in actual conference. I agree. You can say that. To me, they look different. They look fast. They look deep. That's what I was talking to Steve about. I think they throw guys in there and they don't drop off. On offensively, you can't say that. They throw guys in there, and you're wondering what's baffling is all off season, wide receiver depth is all I heard. And now the same people are sitting here saying they don't have any wide receivers in that room that are any playmakers. So at what point, I mean, which one is it? Either you have the depth or you don't, because your depth is being tested at wide receiver right now. And quite frankly, you're hearing that it's not working. So I don't know. Is it a thing where some of those receivers have been playing second or third string and getting balls from Michael Hawkins and they're not used to Jackson Arnold? I don't know. It's not a rhythmic offense right now. That's a fact. And Reader, thanks so much for the super. Appreciate it. New member, Reader. Appreciate the super. It means a lot. Thank you.
Hey, Jay, but you got to think about something when you're talking about the wide receiver depth.
Yeah.
Depth is the guys right now. Zion Reagan's, I don't even think was part of the depth originally. I don't know why Kearney and Carrion aren't playing right now. They're at least size-wise. But in my opinion, you can't say that the depth, because Brennan Thompson was a depth piece. He was not going to be a starter. He was going to be a guy who would play a lot of snaps and do some things. Hey, Zion Reagan's, though, looks like a high school. I don't think he's ready, personally. And I see Stephen G. Hey, let's not call people out with profanity, Stephen G. That's a warning, okay?
Hey, real quick on the receivers. I'm not denying that Jaden Gibson, Jaleel Farouk, and Nick Anderson were and Andrell Anthony. Other than Burks, those are your best receivers, and none of them are playing right now. That's a problem. So
they've got 4 starters out, Jay.
That's a problem offensively. So I understand if you want to say Jackson Arnold and the wide receivers are not on the same page. I get that. But then you got to figure out the running game or something until you get that figured out. Because, hey, Shakur, appreciate that. It means a lot. I don't mind having people on there from other schools.
Yeah.
I think it's great. And by the way, Texas looks like a playoff team, that's for sure. They look good.
They look great. Hey, it's been an hour, Jay. Guys, we do this every single night. We'll have a video tomorrow going out being released about the defense. We're going to have Trent Rattery on a video to talk about this last week's game. Had Daniel Brooks on last week. Hope to have him on again. Steve Stutzman tonight. It's been great. Every night we'll see you guys on here where we try to keep it real. And appreciate everyone that's been in the comments. Thanks for the supers tonight by Reader, Scott, Chief. I'm missing someone, Jay, at the beginning. I can't remember who it is, but I appreciate it. Daniel. It was Daniel. Daniel, yeah. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate Steve Stutzman again for doing this every single week in the Eastern time zone.
Hey,
appreciate it.
Go get your hat from Fanstop.
Oh, go get we got compliments galore on my upside down Longhorn hat. I'm going to wear mine tomorrow night on here. Go order it on the fanstop.com. You won't be disappointed. Also, sign up for the Shirt of the Month Club. We'll see you all tomorrow. Have a great Monday.